Welcome to Lesson 3 in Unit 10, Saving the Sand Dunes. In this lesson, students will work together to answer the question, how quickly can the sand dunes change? In this lesson, students continue to ask questions and explore how the dunes are changing. They investigate how quickly or slowly the dunes can change and read about fast and slow changes on Earth. Students figure out that changes to the sand dune can happen quickly or slowly. They make connections to the storyline by continuing to research the problem they are trying to solve. There are several opportunities for ELA cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 10 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 4 days to complete. To begin the Engage portion, you'll remind students of the engineering design cycle and their progress toward solving the problem. You'll let students know they are still researching the problem and gathering information. You'll ask students about what they observed during the wind and water investigations from Lesson 2 and what they could tell us about why the dunes are changing. You'll revisit the driving question board and add any new questions and highlight others connected to the learning goals of this lesson by calling attention to questions about how quickly the dunes change. For the Explore portion, you'll ask a few questions about how the force of the wind and water affected the changes to the sand in the investigation. You'll then invite students to pair share their initial ideas about how quickly the sand dunes can change. You'll then set up the sand and water tube investigation. There is a teacher tutorial showing the setup, and the detailed procedure for this activity can be found in the teacher guide. Students will watch a video of gentle waves and move the model in a way to mimic the waves, observing the movement of sand and rock inside the tube. They'll then follow a similar procedure to model strong waves. In the Explain portion of the lesson, students will engage in a class discussion to share their findings from the sand and water tube investigations. Use the provided questions to guide your discussion around the question, how quickly can the dunes change? The goal of this class discussion is to analyze student data and identify how changes can be made quickly or slowly. You will use the discussion to create the Lesson 3 summary chart. From the discussion, students should understand that the Sleeping Bear Dunes can change quickly, like in a storm, or slowly by the movement of waves. For the Elaborate portion, you'll tell students that big and small waves or wind are only some of the ways Earth can change. You'll invite students to think more about fast and slow changes on Earth and put them in groups and pass out the book, The Sun, the Wind, and the Rain. Use the Read Aloud guide to read the book, and we suggest students follow along in their books. During or after the Read Aloud, you'll invite student pairs to look through the books and complete the Fast and Slow Changes, Details, and Evidence student journal page. You'll have students share and discuss their answers with the class. You'll then lead a short class discussion to update the summary chart with new information on how the Earth can change slowly. From the discussion, students should understand that changes to mountains made of earth happen slowly over time, and changes to sand mountains can happen quickly. After the discussion, for the Evaluate portion, you'll have students use their Fast and Slow Changes journal pages to answer the final question, explaining how the Sleeping Bear sand dunes can change quickly and slowly. Students can refer to the investigations and readings from Lessons 2 and 3 to help them answer this question. To support student sense-making across the unit, orient them back to the driving question board. Ask, did we answer any of the questions on our driving question board? If there are questions that have been answered, remove them from the driving question board and place them on the summary charts. Use this as an opportunity to answer the section driving question, why are the changing dunes a problem? Be sure to see the noted opportunity to attend to equity. Have students use the self-check form to evaluate their own learning in this section. This is an instructional tool that can be used as a metacognitive practice for students to reflect on their learning, express their engagement or excitement levels for the topics they have learned so far, and reflect on their science identities and community. By the end of this lesson, students will have used evidence from investigations to construct an explanation that changes to the Earth's surface can happen quickly or slowly. In Lesson 4, students will apply their learning as they select materials to begin designing solutions that prevent wind and water from changing the dunes. For the optional Extend, you can direct students to the Time Scale Student Journal page. You'll ask them to put the words in order from the smallest amount of time to the largest amount of time, and then discuss. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.